Hi, I'm April. I am a singer-songwriter and music teacher, and today we're going to talk about gifts to get musicians for the holidays. To make this list a little bit easier for you, we are going to start with the least expensive things and we are going to move our way up to the most expensive things. So hopefully you'll find something in this video that works for you, works for your budget, and works for the amazing musician that you want to buy a gift for. So let's get started. So let's say that you don't have a lot to spend or you want to get a small stuffing stalker. So let's say that you don't have a lot of money to spend or you want to get a stocking stuffer. A nice place to start would be with manuscript paper. Manuscript paper is paper that is specifically made for musicians. So it has 5 lines going across down the whole page, which allows the musician to be able to turn those lines into a staff and create sheet music. It shouldn't be too difficult to find just a pad of staff paper, but if you're looking to get a little bit fancier, you could look for a manuscript notebook. There are tons of awesome notebooks and journals that are specifically made for musicians. If your musician is a songwriter, first of all, tell them to subscribe to this channel. And second of all, try to find a notebook that has staff paper on one side and room for lyrics on the other side. If your person is a guitarist, especially if they're a beginner or self-taught, it might be a lot easier for them to read tablature, or tabs. Tablature would have 6 lines instead of 5, because the lines represent the specific strings on the guitar. So unless your guitarist is a little more advanced and reads sheet music, I think tab paper and tab notebooks are a great place to start. If you're not totally sure about the stuff that your musician likes to play, but you do know what they like to listen to, a great option might be to get something that represents a band or an artist that they love. Just about every holiday season, you're going to see a number of rock star biographies, along with posters, other merch, t-shirts, and even remasters of classic albums. If your musician likes to listen to hard copies of music, like records, this is a great opportunity to show them you care with some music that you know they love. Depending on your person's instrument, there are tons of little bits and bobs and things that are useful for their specific instrument. If your person plays guitar or bass, it might be really nice to get them a fancy, pretty strap. You can also look for fancy guitar picks. You can even customize guitar picks if you want to get really fancy. Or you could look for something like a capo, which is really useful for new guitarists. If you're not totally sure what might be relevant for your specific person's instrument, you can always check in with their teacher, if they have a teacher. I am absolutely certain that if they work with a teacher or have some sort of mentor or even just friends who play that specific instrument, that person is going to have a lot to say about what your musician will enjoy and find useful. On that note, you might want to look for lesson books, books of sheet music for their specific favorite artists, or books on their specific interests or disciplines within music. For instance, if your person's really into jazz, you might want to look into fake books. Fake books are a collection of jazz standards that are really useful for jazz musicians because they're just so full of music that you can play. The music written in a fake book is also not super detailed, which is great because jazz musicians often will want to comp to whatever they're playing, or they'll want to play that music with other musicians, and so it's nice to have something that's a little bit more bare bones. There's a specific brand of fake book that's called the real book, which is the most popular and probably most ubiquitous type of fake book. So if you happen to see one of those in the store, your jazz musician will thank you. If your jazz musician is a vocalist, you can also find real books in higher and lower voice types, which is great for vocalists who want to jam with other musicians, but need the songs to be in a specific key to fit their voice. Plus they have lyrics. If your musician happens to have a specific interest within music, like music therapy or music education, you can totally look into books that would reflect those different disciplines. There are a lot of great books on music in the brain, for instance, Musicophilia and This Is Your Brain on Music, and there are a ton of lesson books and textbooks for all sorts of different disciplines within music. If your person's a songwriter, you might want to check out one of Pat Pattison's books. I'm personally a very big fan of Writing Better Lyrics. So let's say you want to get something a little bigger or have a little bit more to spend. A great option for your musician might be a small instrument. There are so many different types of instrument under the sun, and a lot of them are really small, easy to learn, and inexpensive. Some fun options might be a ukulele, a tambourine, or a harmonica. If you're looking for a gag gift or something that might make your musician laugh, you can also look for an automaton. Some useful things for just about any musician are a metronome and a nice stand. Some things to look for in a music stand are the adjustability of the stand and how portable they might be. Different musicians might need to go different places with that stand, so it's worth looking for something collapsible if your musician tends to play out a lot. Different musicians have different preferences as to which music stands are best for them, but this is one that I really like. So let's say it is the future, and miraculously, COVID is over and the world is somewhat back to normal. Hopefully those things will be true by the time you watch this video. Your musician probably has a lot of artists that they would love to see live. You don't have to spend tons and tons of money on giant stadium shows in order to make your musician happy. And in fact, I think most musicians are going to really appreciate tickets to a smaller show. Many small shows will give you the opportunity to meet the musicians you're watching, or to get cool signed merch. Plus, you'll be helping a smaller band to make their music dreams come true. In this price range, you'll also be able to find a lot of really great equipment and technology, like the kind that my cat is playing with right now. Hey, buddy. You gonna come up here? Yeah, come on, baby girl. For instance, a great pair of headphones, a microphone, or an effects pedal. There are a ton of different things you can look for as far as recording equipment goes, as well as technology specific to different instruments. Why are you so cute? If you're willing to spend a little bit more on your musician, a great place to start would be with lessons. If your musician is self-taught, a beginner, wanting to try a new instrument, or even if they've been playing for a little while and maybe feel like they're plateauing in a certain area, I think lessons are the best way to get the most bang for your buck. Even if you're really only able to pay for one lesson or a month of lessons, that time is going to be super valuable and your musician will thank you for it. If your musician does a fair amount of recording or wants to get into recording or production, a great option would be a DAW, or Digital Audio Workstation. DAWs are the software that we use to record music. There are some amazing free programs out there that are great for getting started, but if your musician wants to get a little bit more in depth, some awesome industry standard programs are Logic and Pro Tools. If you're not totally sure about what types of products your musician might like for playing music, you might want to help them find something that is useful for listening to music. I think a great option for any musician who will use it and appreciate it would be a record player. I know that records can feel a little bit antiquated, but they're a method of music consumption that just haven't gone out of style. A lot of people prefer the tactile feeling of picking up a record needle or flipping the album over. And many people swear that the sound of a record player is just better than listening to something streaming. Lastly, and perhaps most obviously, you can get them a new instrument. A lot of people have really specific opinions and thoughts about the types of things that they want in a new instrument, so definitely check in with your musician or check in with their teacher or friends and see if they've maybe dropped any hints about the types of things that they would look for. And if your musician is really young, try looking for rental programs or smaller instruments. If you want to get your musician a new instrument but aren't totally sure where to start, a good option is always to get a gift card to a local music shop. Tell your musician that you want to get them a new instrument, but don't really know what it is that they want, and they'll be able to try out all those instruments and see what fits for them. That way, not only are you helping a small local business, you're giving your musician the opportunity to choose what it is that they like and feel comfortable with in an instrument. And with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Leave a like. And if you're interested in songwriting or music making at all, feel free to subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell to be notified the next time I post.